right, we're going to get started. Thank you. It's really a nice crowd. We haven't had this many, I can remember, for quite some time. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the internship program. It is a good elective, 3 hours credit. I would like to add that, particularly if you're from Beckley, we're establishing a nice relationship with Raleigh General Hospital. We have 2 interns placed up there in the spring. We have 1 individual in the finance department here at Concord. So please give that some consideration. Today we have Cody Vaught, who interned with the Princeton Rays, the Class A baseball team here at Princeton. And then we have Danielle Knight. Danielle has accepted my invitation, graciously accepted, I should say, to come, because she's not actually getting the 3 hours of credit, but she interned with the West Virginia Governor's Summer Internship Program, which is quite a prestigious little opportunity, and we wanted her to make you aware of that opportunity, because in my experience, not a lot of students here know that they can avail themselves of that program. And then we're going to close with Katie Bacchus, who interned at Ace Adventure in Fayetteville, and she's going to tell you about whitewater rafting, granola bars. Okay. Thanks again for coming.
All right, good morning, everyone. For those of y'all that don't know me, my name is Cody Vaught, and I'm a business management major here at Concord University. I know you all are probably wondering what the raffle tickets are for, but just hang on to them, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Over the past 2 years, I've become more of a fan of baseball than I used to be. And after watching so many games, I began to wonder how the business aspect of the sport worked. And thankfully, I was given the opportunity to experience how the management and marketing portions of baseball worked. Today, I'm going to tell you about my business internship with the Princeton Rays. And I'm going to discuss who my mentor was, my duties as an intern, the experience I gained, and my main takeaway from my internship. First, who my mentor was. My mentor is Princeton Rays General Manager Jim Holland. Jim Holland is a very experienced general manager. He's been the general manager with the Princeton Rays for 22 years and remains the longest tenured GM in franchise history. Now, with all this experience, it doesn't come to a surprise that he is an award-winning general manager. Jim Holland is the only person in Appalachian League history to be a 5-time winner of the Appalachian League Promotional Award of Excellence. Also, in 2012, Jim Holland was named Citizen of the Year by the Mercer County Chamber of Commerce. Second, my duties as an intern. Now, although I had a variety of duties, one in particular stood out. I was given the task of putting together a free daycare and youth day. My duties for this, I was responsible for contacting numerous daycares and encouraging them to bring out their kids to watch a baseball game for free. This included making phone calls, mailing out information about the event, and placing follow-up calls, encouraging them to come. Overall, the event turned out pretty well. We had about 15 to 20 daycares show up with about 100 kids along with their chaperones. Another duty that I had was to get out in the community and promote the Princeton Rays. I went out to numerous businesses and put out game schedules and game posters to promote the Princeton Rays. Another duty that I had was to attend 2 Little League baseball ceremonies. One was in Hinton, West Virginia, and one was right down the road at Gardner Field. Now during this, we handed out schedules to the parents and gave them information about the Princeton Rays. And during this, we handed out bobbleheads and baseball cards to the little kids to get them excited about coming to watch the games. Also, while all of this was going on, I was responsible for informing the parents about our current promotion that we had going on. This promotion allowed for any kid to get in free to any home regular season game as long as they were wearing their Little League uniforms. Next, the experience I gained from my internship. According to the American Management Association, effective communication is an important element of success for every organization, leader, manager, supervisor, and employee. With all that being said, it is evident that the experience that I gained from this internship will definitely help me in the business world. This internship tremendously helped my communication skills. Before my internship, I had no experience with face-to-face marketing or making business calls or anything of that nature. But after much face-to-face contact and countless phone calls to a variety of businesses, I'm much more comfortable with business communication. While this experience has improved my communication skills, it has also improved my confidence and my assertiveness. Finally, the main takeaway. The main concept that I took away from my internship was the concept of expanding your brand. This is something that my mentor, Jim Holland, was constantly preaching. I learned that in order for your company to succeed, you must expand and promote your brand. It doesn't matter what business you are in, you need to promote it in order to be successful. Everything that I have mentioned about my internship today was focused on the concept of expanding your brand. Each and every task that I was assigned during my internship focused on promoting Princeton Rays baseball. Throughout my speech on my internship today, I have told you about who my mentor was, my duties as an intern, the experiences I gained, and my main takeaway from my internship. To reiterate the main concept of expanding your brand, that's just what I intend to do. I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to further promote Princeton Rays baseball. So grab your raffle ticket because 5 of you are about to win a free Princeton Rays t-shirt. Mr. Fazio, if I could have your assistance, please. You draw one, pass it around. I'll read it out.
You want me to read it out? You read it.
I'll read it out if you want. 216710. Anybody? Got it? Awesome. Welcome. Pass that on. Draw one out. 216698.
25 off. That was close.
You got it. You pass this back to her, one of you. Awesome. Draw one out for me, man. So 216726. Got you, line. Did you get that? Hope I don't hit you in the head. Gonna draw one out for me? Mr. Islam, Dr. Islam. Awesome.
Okay, this one is 216734. Right there.
And back. You had it. You pass this back to her, one of you. Awesome. Last one. You draw it out for me, man?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull mine. That's not mine.
21 6683. Got that? Here you go. And that concludes my presentation for today. Any questions? Thank you.
Any questions for Cody? Thank you, Cody. Good job.
Thank you.
Danielle Knight will now talk about the governor's summer internship program.
I'm Danielle Knight, and I did my internship with the governor's internship program, and I was actually placed with the West Virginia Development Office, which is a part of the West Virginia Department of Commerce. To apply for the West Virginia Governor's Internship Program, you have to apply online, you have to complete an application, and if you get a call back, someone wants you to be an intern for them, you have to provide them with your transcripts and 2 letters of recommendation. For mine, they wanted 3, so I have to turn in 3. To do the West Virginia Governor's Internship Program, there are certain criteria you have to meet. You must be enrolled in a West Virginia college or university and also have completed at least one semester at that college or university, and you must also have a GPA of 3.0. There's also another criteria that if you're graduating and going off to another school or grad school out of state, then they don't accept you. So you have to be going back to the university or college. I got a call back from the West Virginia Insurance Commission and the West Virginia Department of Commerce. I chose to work with the West Virginia Department of Commerce, just thought it was a better fit for me. I worked in Building 6 of the Capitol Complex in Charleston, so every day I was going to Charleston near the Capitol. In the office that I worked at, it's a big office, and the whole floor is the department, or the West Virginia Department of Commerce. And so in our little corner, we had Monica Miller and Jennifer Farrell, which were my supervisors, and I worked with the Main Street Division, which a lot of you probably don't know what that is. I didn't know what that was, but I'll talk about it here later. We also had Nikki, Laura, Chris, who I also worked with on NIP, the Neighborhood Investment Program, and James, and then Kathy was the secretary. There was also 4 interns on our floor through this program. There was 2 in our division and then 2 down the hall. What they do, they're more of a community resource based. Main Street, the program provides technical assistance to West Virginia's Main Street communities. These communities, they learn how to make the revitalations through the services and training of the Main Street. It's mainly trying to revitalize downtown areas, persuade businesses to come in, redo their storefronts to make it more appealing. That's kind of what Main Street is based. And On Track is just a smaller version of that. To become a Main Street community, you have to be on the On Track for at least 2 years. NIP, like I said earlier, is a neighborhood investment program. It was established by the West Virginia legislature to increase charitable giving to local nonprofit organizations. It's designed to allow some charitable organizations to apply for tax credit. And the West Virginia legislature actually sets aside $3 million annually in state tax credits for the NIP organizations. They also work with small city block grants, Land and Water Conservation Fund, and Appalachian Regional Commission. My job duties, I participated in helping train the executive boards of Main Street and On Track communities. When I first started there, my first week, the executive boards came to Charleston for about a 2-day period, and we were able to teach them how to gain more volunteers to help out, and financially how they should be and what to do to their downtown areas to help revitalize them. I participated in staff meetings weekly. I filed paperwork, archived files, secretarial duties. At one time, I had, 15 boxes of old files in my office that I had to go through and archive and then send them off. I also got to help prepare for the Greenbrier Classic, which was really cool. We have a lot of big clients in our company, and we got to put together binders for them, for their tickets for the whole week, for the passes to get in the golf course and what their hotel was, and make sure that each of them had a letter from the governor. They're very thick binders, but that was really cool to help out with. I reviewed NIP applications, and I also got to visit Point Pleasant to view their efforts for Main Street. Jennifer goes and she goes to these downtown areas and sees what they're doing and what their plans are for the future, so I got to go and visit Point Pleasant. While I was there, I got to tour the Mothman Museum, which is what they're known for. I also got to tour the American Queen, which was a riverboat that was docked there. So they actually let us on the boat and got to tour it. And the picture in the middle is a simulator for children to come, and you get to like drive a boat. You can get to choose which kind of boat, if you're daytime, nighttime, and New York City, the harbor, a bunch of places you can do. So it was really cool, and that was one thing that they were doing to bring people into the community. Some of the key points I learned secretarial skills, answering the phone, sending out lots of emails, working with their copier because it's pretty high tech, working collaboratively in the office. When I wasn't doing something for Jennifer, I was always asking around to the other supervisors there, seeing if they needed any help, and working with the NIP applications. There was 4 of us actually reviewing them. Me and another intern were reviewing them to make sure they were complete, and the other 2, Chris and Laura, were actually scoring them to see how much tax credits they would get. Communication skills, also working on those, reviewing those applications, you had to get in contact with those people because it is very important for them to get these tax credits, and if there was something missing, they really wanted to know. So you had to be able to communicate effectively what they needed and when they could get it to you. Office policies and procedures, that's not something you can learn in a classroom. You need real world experience to know, who's going to be accountable for what and when the timely manner and all that kind of stuff. And also to get an internship. It is very important to gain real world experience, and that's something you just can't learn in a classroom. Why the Governor's Internship Program? This program offers enrichment opportunities during the summer. We got to meet the West Virginia Governor and First Lady. We got a tour of the West Virginia House and Senate. There was a geocaching trip, which is a GPS hunt, and there's also opportunities to meet and network with other professionals. The Governor's Internship Program assists college students in locating meaningful summer internships with West Virginia government agency, private businesses, and not-for-profit organizations. I know people who got jobs in Huntington, down in this area. I worked in Charleston, all over the state. It's a great opportunity to gain experience and build network connections. It's very important to stay in touch with these people. Jennifer, I'm actually going to go back in Christmas break because they said, they liked my help and they wanted me to come back. So I'm planning on going back over Christmas break for a month and working with them again. It's also a paid internship. Not very many internships are paid, and this one you get to gain experience and also get a paycheck. This was the picture of a couple people in the internship program with the picture of the governor and the first lady in the middle. And these are the references, and if you go to www.westvirginia.gov/the-GIP, that will take you, and that's where you will apply. And it gives a lot of information about the program itself, the criteria, what their mission is, everything like that. Any questions?
Did you see the Mothman?
Yeah, the statue of him. Not the real one, just a statue.
Any questions for Danielle? Did a good job. There's something I am compelled to add. The program has recently been amended, and you don't necessarily have to work in Charleston. If you meet the qualifications, you can work for a private industry in the southern part of the state, even for Concord University. So try to explore your possibilities and expand them. It's a good way for all of us in southern West Virginia to connect with the program. Thank you very much.
Let's see, this one? Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, I just want to thank everyone for coming out and supporting the presentations that we had today. Those were 2 really good presentations. My name's Caitlin Backus, and I'm a junior here at Concord, and my presentation is the importance of an internship, the rapid improvement of your future. What I will speak about today is what an internship is, as a defined term, why it's important to a student's career and to that intern, my own experience with my internship, kind of give you a before and after feel of what my future could look like, and then we'll come to a conclusion. What is an internship exactly? As a defined term, an internship is the process a student or recent graduate undergoes during supervised practical training. Now, a lot of students get hung up on the word practical. They think that means that it won't be exciting for them. That's not the truth at all. Practical just means that it will be very valuable to your future. It's something you can use. The fact that it might not be exciting for you is just a preconceived notion. Benjamin Franklin said, "Teach me and I remember, show me and I understand, involve me and I learn." And the reality about internships is that it is involvement, it is experience, and it is exciting. Why an internship is important. First and foremost, you're applying these classroom concepts, and it kind of helps you see things more clearly. As a business student, I'm sitting there and I'm hearing things like SWOT analysis being thrown around, and it's a concept that's easy enough to understand, and you can even remember it after you've had the class, but for you to actually sit in on a SWOT analysis and then to take it a step further and to actually see and participate in finding out what the company's strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats are, it actually gets those concepts to sink in. It's also real-world experience. As Danielle said, you don't really get that in the classroom. It's also a problem-solving skill enhancer. So as I'll talk about a little bit later in my presentation, there were some challenges that I came across, and you had to learn to adapt to those and adapt quickly. And for a student to learn adaptability is to learn to become a very marketable force within the business world. It's also a resume builder. When you get out of the graduation gate, a lot of people these days, they have an education just like you. They have a decent GPA. How do you set yourself apart? An internship can do that exactly for you. It's also a connection aid. How valuable would it be for you guys, once you graduate, to have just one connection within the field that you want to work in? It'd be pretty valuable, wouldn't it? So for you to have an internship, you're meeting connections every single day that work in that field. Not only that, but those connections have connections. It's very valuable. It could also be the foundation for your future job. So after your internship, this company might want to keep you. They see your hard work, you already know the company, you're dedicated to the process. They might want to keep you or know someone that has a great job for you. So my own internship was at Ace Adventure Resort. ACE stands for American Canadian Expeditions. They're a whitewater rafting company located in Minden, West Virginia. It's about an hour away from here. They began in the late 1970s, merging two already rafting companies together. They began with one borrowed raft, running trips from an old motel in Fayetteville, West Virginia. Now they have hundreds of rafts and run trips from their 1,500 acres of picturesque West Virginia land called Wonderland. They are also currently the biggest whitewater rafting company in West Virginia. Now their motto is a place for adventure all in one spot, and this couldn't be more true because their activities include rafting the upper and lower New River, rafting the upper and lower gully, kayaking, canoeing, ducky trips, stand-up paddleboard, zip line, cliff rappel, rock climbing, horseback riding, ATV trips, paintball, an adventure lake, biplane rides, a bridge walk on the New River Gorge Bridge, hiking, mountain biking, fishing trips, mud obstacle, an alpine tower, disc golf, and camping offered from pop-up tents to lavish chalets. And the marketing head that I actually worked with, her name is Beth Gill, but my actual boss that dealt more with what, the kind of things I was doing, her name's Heidi Pryor. So, to kind of, give you more of an idea of what I was doing there, my job duties included taking Facebook pictures, taking advertising pictures, making Facebook promotions and posts, coming up with contests for guests, helping run the Twitter, helping run the Instagram, run ACE's social media kiosk, write weekly blogs for their website, researching search engine organization implementation, contacting advertising investors and following through, working social events as the PR person, such as the Boy Scout Jamboree that came through, creating employee contests, covering bands and comedians, responding to guest emails, and contacting companies about advertising opportunities. So you can see that over the summer I was a very, very busy lady. And this all started with the interview process. I've had jobs before, and the interview process hasn't really went any farther than the very first meeting. It was just, hi, hello, what are you interested in? Okay, here's a job. And that's not really how the real world is. This interview process of my internship was a learning tool in and of itself. I had 4 interviews to land this interview. The first 2 were over the phone. The third one was in person, and the fourth one was a written sample piece. And the kind of questions that they asked, you're not prepared for until you actually experience it. one of the questions that they asked me was, what was your biggest failure to date? And on one hand, you want to be honest, but on the other hand, you want to be marketable. You want this company to like you. So like I said, it's a learning tool in and of itself. Once I landed the internship, my role was the social media representative and marketing assistant. As I said before, I had a huge list of job duties to keep me busy. My example work week for you guys is Monday and Tuesday. I worked 9 to 5 in the office, and I was doing things like contacting advertising agencies and writing the blog and covering bands, things like that. And then Saturday and Sunday, I wasn't in the marketing office. I was actually on property where ACE is, and those were my trip days. I worked very long days. It would be about from 7 o'clock in the morning to like 8:30 at night. And what I would do is I would go rafting and I would go ziplining and things like that. And it sounds like a ton of fun, and it was, but it could also be very challenging at times. And just, so you guys can get a better picture of what I did, I'm going to show you some of the pictures that I took from my internship. Now you guys can see that, this looks like a goofy picture, and it is, but, people are going whitewater rafting. You've got to kind of learn that they don't want to, stand and cheese. They want to have these pictures that they can remember, show their friends and families, and look back on these forever because, this is a new experience for a lot of people. So to get them to take pictures like this that they would end up sharing ended up being something valuable that I learned. If you look in the bottom, all of you might not be able to see, but it actually says aceraft.com down here. I had to fashion this watermark that we could put on all of our pictures because we did offer these for free to the guests that came, and to get a little bit of subliminal advertising in there. So just so you guys understand, I kind of, one of the challenges that I came across was I had to do my job, which was taking pictures for the Facebook and advertising and things like that, but I did them while I was rafting. And it's just, it was a totally new ball game for me. So like I said, rafting and taking pictures at the same time, just to see, how different this was for me. If you can kind of see this picture here, the rafts are about 14 to 16 feet long. There's only about 3 foot of this raft actually sticking out. So that means that there's 13 feet of raft that's in a hole. So there's guests and raft down in this hole. And these are the boats behind me, so I had just previously done that. I had just went through this rapid, camera in hand. You're praying, please don't drop this camera, I don't want to lose my job. And rafting at the same time. It was a really exciting experience. This is my view from the zip line. Some guests that we had. And the bridge, you can see, we go right under while we raft. Our blob. This is our mud obstacle course. Cliff rappelling. This was actually one of the boats that I was in. I'm sitting right behind this guy right here. So this is kind of the epitome of my adventure while I was at ACE. This is the Upper Gully, which is rated the second best river in the world to raft. And if you look in the back at the green helmet right there, that's me. This is the Class 5 rapid known as Sweets Falls. Sweets Falls is a 14-foot drop that you enter. All of this is waves, so you can't see it, but you enter down into this, it's 14 feet, and you pop back out. And it's just, what a picture is worth 1,000 words, you guys can see. So within my internship, like I said, there were challenges that I came across, and I had to learn to adapt to them. First and foremost, it was a complete culture shock. I hadn't been rafting before when I went, and instantly they want me to take pictures and raft at the same time. And just the lingo that these people were throwing around and the times and things like that, different rapids, I had to get used to all of this culture shock. simple tasks became not so simple. You can stand here and you can take pictures, easy peasy. But to be moving up and down in a boat and not make them blurry and not drop your paddle and not fall out of the water, these simple tasks are things I had to learn to adapt to. Time is of the essence. At the end of the day, I've been rafting 20 miles, I've been out in the sun all day, I'm hungry, I want to go home, but you have to get your pictures up and you have to submit those, and your shift is not over at the end of the day. You don't want to miss your window of opportunity with these guests. Time was of the essence. So while there were challenges, there were so many more opportunities. I could go back and I could get a job with ACE, or I could take it and I have those great connections. Speaking of connections, one of the connections that I actually made was with Nature Valley granola bars. And you guys have no doubt heard of them. You've seen their commercials, this, that, or the other. They contacted ACE and they said, we want you guys to take these granola bars, and they sent hundreds. We want you to take these granola bars and we want you to take pictures of the people at ACE doing the activities that they do, rafting and ziplining, and give those back to us, and we'll advertise for you guys for free. So, we're kind of advertising for them, giving the bars to the guests, and they're advertising for us. And my boss came to me and she said, I think you can do this, and I want to see that you can. And no help whatsoever, she gave it to me. I got a photographer and we went out and they used some of my pictures and we used some of my photographers, and we made this happen for Nature Valley. And that's a connection that I can go, a big connection that I can go and use as a resource later on. Not just that, but there were a lot of extra perks. I was going rafting, never done that, and I went, I think it was 20 plus times I went over this summer, went whitewater rafting. I got to go zip lining, and I got to meet people from all over the world. And within your career, and then with even just, in your personal life, it's amazing the way that an internship can progress your future. This gives you an idea of my resume before my internship. I pretty much had nothing to contribute to the experience field. I had Hobby Lobby, and I would deal with customers, and I dealt with training new employees, as it says there, but really, what weight does that hold to contributing to your future? It doesn't hold very much. Career will look at that and they'll say, no thanks. After my internship, though, I've specialized in marketing. I've specialized in advertising, public relations, social media. My accomplishments, working with Nature Valley. I've worked with a large company on advertising, and I did that for my employer. Also gained substantial amount of loyal customers and new followers to our social media sites. If you look at ACE's Facebook before I came, and then after I came, you can actually, it's really cool, you can see the numbers go up. And that's something that you can put on your resume, and employers are, they think that's really cool to see that. Also, I became a published author for a successful company. I was writing the blog. If you go to ACE's website and you click blog, there's about 35 blogs that I've written, and I instantly have become a published author. Also, a published photographer. I had no experience beforehand, but every time ACE advertises using my pictures, they put my name in there, and it's free advertising. So what I left ACE with: an improved resume, office and marketing experience, connections that I can use, possible future job, a grasp on what I can do, but more importantly, a grasp on what I can't, a growing experience, and life experiences. So our conclusion is, an internship is a great learning tool. It's a skill builder, a connection aid, a resume enhancer, an adventure, and a life experience that truly every student should know. Do we have any questions from you guys?
What's a ducky float?
I was hoping someone would ask what a ducky was. Have you seen a canoe?
Yeah.
What a canoe looks like? It's an inflatable canoe. And for guests that have never been canoeing or kayaking before, it's kind of easier to maneuver. And yeah, right.
What's a chalet?
A
Or chalet?
You said it right the first time. A chalet is kind of this nice, it's like your dream cabin. They have, even though you're out in the woods, you have DirecTV, and you've got, You've got these beautiful, you know, rooms and suites, and then it also comes with a hot tub, and it's nice. It's high living. What is it?
Does it have deer hanging on the wall?
No, you got to bring that yourself.
That's a dream.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Katie. Good job. Just a few closing comments. I promise you it'll be about a minute. If you need credit for your attendance, make sure your name is on the sign-up sheet. Please do an evaluation. We share those with the students, and it's helpful for the program. And what do you think? Do I have your authorization on behalf of the Division of Business to give these 3 people an award? What do you think? You do? Good. Would you come forward, please, Cody? We're going to go in the order they presented. Get a nice certificate and a jump drive. Let's give Cody one round of applause. Let's do that again. One round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Danielle? Proud to do that. Evolving tradition. Danielle, thank you very much. Let's give Danielle one round of applause. Thank you very much. One round of applause, please. All right. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it.